Do electric cars need any servicing? So electric vehicles have got far fewer moving parts compared to your old internal combustion engine vehicle. Now, an ICE vehicle needs a lot of servicing. There's a lot of different oils that need changing, gaskets, various things need checking. But there's none of that in an electric vehicle. So does it need servicing? Well, the answer to that is yes and no. It does need some checking, but nowhere near as much as these legacy auto peoples would have you believe. Now so I started to think about this when BYD or EV Direct put out rather expensive servicing costs. Now I know they've reduced them, but in my opinion, I still think that this is absolutely ridiculous. You don't need to service an EV anywhere near as much. So, do you need to do an EV service regularly? Every 6 months, 12 months or whatever? No. They do not need servicing anywhere near as regularly as an internal combustion engine. So they don't have the oils and so on to check. Not only do they not have the oils to check and change, they don't have spark plugs, timing belts and all those sorts of things to change. You've got to check tyres, but you should be doing that yourself. There are certain things that you should do when you're driving your vehicle regularly. You check your tyres, you check your tyre pressures, you check the lights are all working. This is something you should do on a regular basis, not just at a service. So what can they do at a service? Brakes. It's a bit hard just to jump under the car and check the brakes yourself. So they can check brakes, brake pads, discs and brake fluid. But because you're not using the brakes anywhere near as much in an electric vehicle as you would in an internal combustion engine car, because you use regenerative braking, unless you don't, in which case check them more often. I've done 60,000 plus kilometres in this vehicle. Recently I had the service engineer out and he had to take the wheels off on the front, and I said, while you're there, have a look at the brake discs and pads for me. And he said, the brake discs have still got the original machining work on them. They don't look like they've been used. And the brake pads still look like new. That was after 60,000 kilometres. Tesla recommend checking them every couple of years. There are a few things that are unique to electric vehicles. The big battery, the charge port, the battery management system. If you've got decent software, it can tell you something's going wrong with the main battery or the battery management system. The charge port, continual use and wiggling it around could make things go loose, but yeah, unless you actually forcibly do something there and damage it, there's not too much to check. So I've made a list here of things that electric and internal combustion engine vehicles have in common. Some of them are consumables and so on that may require routine checkups. The brake fluid, discs, pads, as I've already said. Gear fluid. Yeah, there's not much in the way of gear fluid and it's in a reasonably sealed unit. Tesla used to say check it and change it every couple of years, but they then realised that it wasn't deteriorating at all, so there's not much for that. Cabin air filters. Maybe every 2 years change the air filters. In Teslas you can start to get a bit of a musty smell sometimes, and then it's an indicator that you need to change them. Air conditioning unit. Obviously air conditioning units have got a liquid in them that shouldn't need replacing all that often, but it's a good idea to check the pipes and so on. Tyres, yeah, the pressure, tread wear, balance, rotation. When you put tyres on a car, every 10,000 k's or so, 6,000 miles, rotate the tyres, check the balance. Suspension joints, that's more of an inspection than actually doing anything physically. Parking brake, well, on my Tesla it's an electronic one, you just push a button, and on a lot of them now it is just a button brake. Steering rack and power steering system, okay, that's an inspection. The 12-volt auxiliary battery. In Teslas that are coming out now, it's a lithium-ion battery. It'll last just as long as the car. The old 12-volt lead-acid batteries, maybe every couple of years, would need replacing. The electronic systems, vehicle and infotainment software, that should keep itself up to date. I mean, I've just done a video on the software update. We get over-the-air updates just about every week or fortnight in a Tesla. Lighting, wipers and other accessories. Yeah, look, the wiper blades probably need replacing every now and again. You'll soon know when they start squeaking, catching, or just not getting rid of the water. Airbag seat belts. It's an inspection again. There's not a lot to actually do. So, how often do these things need servicing? So I've looked up some of these servicing interval requirements. The Tesla Model 3 and Y is basically condition based. Your car actually monitors everything and can let you know if something is wrong. But you can soon just pop it in and they'll service it. They recommend a quick check over every 2 years. Polestar 2 is every 24 months or 30,000 kilometres. That's pretty reasonable. The MG ZS EV, the older one, was every 24 months or 20,000 kilometres. BYD Atto 3, every 12 months or 20,000 kilometres. I've also got down here 12 months, 12,000 kilometres. The Hyundai Kona Electric, every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres. And these are all whichever one comes first. Kia EV6, 12 months, 15,000 kilometres. The Mercedes-Benz EQA, 12 months, 25,000 kilometres. The Volvo XC40 Recharge, every 24 months or 30,000 kilometres. The Porsche Taycan, 24 months or 30,000 kilometres. So that's just a few that I looked up. As you can see, some of the bigger manufacturers, Volvo, Polestar, which is basically Volvo, the Porsche and the Mercedes, not the Mercedes, sorry, they're every 24 months. And the older MG ZS EV, I don't know about the new updated version that's almost here. But the others, Kia, Hyundai, and Mercedes even, they're all 12 months. Well, I'm still not convinced that you need to do something every 12 months. There's not a lot to change. From a safety perspective, it's basically the brakes and the steering. And that can be done with an inspection. And so, you know, the $190 that I think it's BYD or EV Direct's service costs is, well, look, that would be about 1 to 1.5 hours worth of technician mechanics charging at a dealership. It doesn't need an hour to put the car up on a hoist, have a quick look at the brakes, do a quick check on the fluid, have a quick look at the joints on the steering and so on. An hour is tops. But every 24 months, I'm pretty certain is more than enough. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that these service requirements are too onerous, or do you think that they're just not enough? As I said, Tesla, well, take it in when you feel like it. There's no hard and fast rule. In fact, if you actually follow the Tesla guidelines, after 4 or 5 years, you've only spent a couple of $100. So please explain Legacy Auto. I think it's because they've got this dealership network that they've got to try and maintain, and the service engineers need something to do, otherwise they won't have a job. So they're trying to protect themselves rather than protect people like you and me. That's my thoughts on it anyway. What do you think? Make a comment down below here, and of course there's the usual like and subscribe buttons down here. Thanks very much. See you all soon.